Well, hello, friends, and welcome. This is my daily diary segment, and I want to bring to you the details of what I did from Monday, the 17th of March, through Thursday, the 20th of March of 2025. These were special days. I was together with the pregnancy center directors from across the country. I'm going to tell you about that in detail. But I started Monday morning here at my office with the usual early work that I do, coming here in the studio, doing some tapings, checking in with staff, participating in the staff briefing, having some one-on-one meetings, and doing some work at my computer that involved checking in on the updating of my pro-life reflections for every day, final preparations for the anniversary of Evangelium Vitae, the digitizing of our products, checking in with staff about that, preparation for birthday cards that we send out to donors and bishops, Supreme Court victory, our webpage, getting the latest Supreme Court case more accessible there for all who visit, approving appeals, planning for tapings, looking at our donor surveys, leadership meeting communication, that is the past and future, going back, following up and preparing for the next one. Communication likewise about the upcoming Florida March for Life, clips from our Rachel's Vineyard associates that they made here about prayers for healing. This is Abortion Recovery Awareness Month, so getting those clips out there. The House Pro-Life Caucus, some communication with them. Our prospecting, the company that helps us to mail to prospective donors, our Pro-Life Vote C4 organization, and a big upgrade to our our Pro-Life Central website. You'll be hearing a lot more about that. At 10 o'clock, I left together with one of my staff people here, Rico, who heads up our resource department, and we went to Orlando Airport because we were traveling to Virginia to take part in the National Institute of Family and Life Advocates Conference. This is one of the major networks of pregnancy centers around the country, and we help to train them. I was one of the keynote speakers for this conference. We traveled on a 1 o'clock flight. We got there about 3 o'clock. We went to the hotel, and then we set up our exhibit booth. And as Rico was doing most of the work with regard to that, I was interacting with the other leaders that were arriving, and we were having some great conversations connected with people that we work with throughout the year, and some of whom we've worked with for decades. Tom Glessner, the president of NIFLA, connected with me. We talked, made some final detailed plans for our few days together at this conference, and then we got the rest of the day, the rest of the evening, doing the same thing, interacting with the folks that were arriving, and then Rico and I had some dinner there in the hotel, and went to bed early because we're getting ready to really be energetic in these next few days. Tuesday, March 18th, the conference began with a breakfast at 7 in the morning. So prior to that, let me just make sure I'm touching all the bases here. I did some work in my hotel room before going downstairs. Had to do a number of email tasks on my computer. Some communication again with Bishop Athanasius Schneider. Some of you may know of him on social media, and happy to be in contact directly with him. Some trip plans coming up for upcoming travels. Some, National Right to Life Convention communications, that's coming up as well. Evangelium Vitae anniversary, donor analysis, our work on our late-term abortion project, a list of URLs of our products. I was having one staff person get those to another so that we could get some QR codes made. Some work on our monthly statements, making sure that they get effectively to their intended recipients, and some communication about a video for the participants in the Mar-a-Lago event. You'll see that on my schedule as the day goes on here. So what I did was, did that communication with staff in the morning, went to the 7 a.m. breakfast, began networking with all the participants in this wonderful conference, and also being with Rico at our exhibit booth. Now, we had kind of a dual booth, the Priests for Life and also the National Pro-Life Religious Council, the other organization that I serve as president of. So we had two tables, one for each, and then greeted everybody as they approached and came, and some of them taking our materials. And then we had the opening session of the conference, and I listened to the president, Tom Glessner of NIFLA, giving his remarks. After which, I also listened to our friend, attorney Peter Breen from the Thomas More Society, and he gave a great presentation about some of the legal battles in the pro-life movement, many of which I have been involved in down through the decades. So great presentations and great interaction with the crowds. Now, once that was done, that brought us to 11:30, and then I had to have a phone call with our longtime full-time priest associate, Father Dennis Wild, together with Rob of our social media department. We had a scheduled phone call at 11:30. I took care of some business with them. And then went right back to interacting with the participants in the conference, including having lunch, for which Tom Glessner joined us, and Rico and I having lunch, and also interacting with the others who were having lunch, and continued the networking as the conference resumed. I went back up to my room because then I had to tape a video in the afternoon for a special event, Catholic event, that many of you have heard about. Took place at Mar-a-Lago, the home of President Trump, and there were many priests there. I, of course, was invited to come, but was here at this conference in Virginia. So instead, I made a video for the event, a good half-hour talk, and you can see it on our site. So I did that right in my hotel room at 2:45, and then had the staff start to process it. That was going to be for the next day. Then I went back down, continued interacting with participants. By this time, Reverend John Brown had arrived. He is on the board with me of the National Pro-Life Religious Council. He was staffing the NPRC table, but we were all kind of there together. And then we had an evening banquet in which I was able to meet a number of new people on the NIFLA board, and so forth. And after that, I connected with some more people for conversation, but then went into a service for the memorial service to honor the unborn that had already started. I came in, I led one of the prayers, and then continued talking with the many great participants, so many of whom I already knew after that service was over, and that brought us to a healthy conclusion of the day pretty late into the evening. The next day was St. Joseph's Day, March 19th, another full day of the conference, also my mom's birthday, so obviously connected with her first thing in the morning. 7 o'clock breakfast once again with the conference participants, and I interacted with all of them very joyfully and eagerly. And then we went into the first 9 a.m. session. Of course, some time at my exhibit booth with Rico, people coming, asking about materials. We're showing them the various brochures and books we have. And then I attended, together with so many others, the opening talk by Dr. Christina Francis, APLOG, the American Association of Pro-Life OBGYNs. She heads that up, and we chatted together directly a little bit as well after her talk. When her talk was finished, I had to get on a conference call to talk with my brother about some of the family matters. And of course, we're helping my mom to get back to full strength and after her hospital stay. And I also attended to a number of other emails and interactions with the office in regard to an administrative meeting, the digitizing of our products, the late-term abortion project, communication with Monica Miller about a special broadcast. Hi, Monica, if you're watching. The Pro-Life Rescuers, if you're watching too. The ones that were pardoned by President Trump, we're planning some more special broadcasts. We've already interviewed a number of them. Mar-a-Lago video, some communication with leaders about that. I sent it off to them. Cards for bishops and donors. A podcast with one of our key conservative leaders, working on that with her. another podcast with the pro-life podcast guy, Jacob Barr. He often has me co-host, communication with him. Our Yellow Cards project, communication with Jennifer O'Neill, the actress who is also a spokesperson for our Silent No More campaign. Abortion Recovery Awareness Month in April, some work on our resources for that and disseminating them, and some work with our website staff about some updates I want to see them make. Went back down to the conference and listened to Rick Renzi, former congressman, gave a general session, and I was asked to come up and say a prayer over him, and wonderful, wonderful presentation. Interacted with more of the participants then as the afternoon went on. Spent time at our exhibit booth, and a lot of people coming over there for the materials. And that led into the evening with a special celebration of life dinner, and my friend Marjorie Dannenfelser, who heads up SBA, Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America, was there as one of the speakers. So we had a good chance to catch up as well, and it's always good to see her. And the evening went very, very well. At the end, I came up together with the other speakers, and we all prayed together and had a beautiful conclusion of the evening. That was the 19th of March. Then the final day of the summit, the conference, was Thursday the 20th. Again, 7 a.m. breakfast, and got down there a little bit later than the other 2 mornings. I had to do some work on my computer regarding broadcast plans, the newsletter going out, Jacob Barr, the podcaster, and Monica Miller with the Pro-Life Rescuers. But then went down, had some breakfast, intersected with all the conference participants and with the people visiting our exhibit booth. I visited a number of the other exhibit booths, of course, to talk with our colleagues there. And then what did I do? I went into the opening session, 9 o'clock. Our friend, great pro-life attorney, one of the ones I respect most highly, Steve Aden from Americans United for Life, gave a great presentation. And then after Steve was my presentation, I was there together with Tom Glessner, and we presented pro-life strategy from the memos of Michael Schwartz, strategy papers of this gentleman who's since passed on, but we worked with him for decades. And Tom wanted to re-present to the attendees from across the country the strategic ideas that Mike laid out in that paper. And so therefore I gave a summary of those, and Tom gave his remarks along with that. That went from 10:30 to 12, and at 12 there was a closing of the conference. At that point, then, of course, it was like massive networking. People wanted to talk to me about my remarks, about following up after the conference, talked with the leadership people from NIFLA, some of the board members. Last minute visits to our exhibit booth before we had to start packing it up. I helped Rico a little bit to do that. But then that was this was between 12 and 1. Then by 1, I had to go pick up a rental car in town, because then my plan, which ended up working out just great, was to drive from Williamsburg to Fredericksburg. And we have one of our key people, our Senior Vice President, Jerry Horn. Many of you probably know him from his longtime pro-life activism. He also reaches out to a lot of our donors. He heads up our donor outreach program. So Jerry, I drove over to see him because I hadn't seen him in a while. And so on the way, driving there, I had a substantive administrative update and planning meeting with our executive director and our vice chairman. So as I'm driving along, talking to them on the hands-free in the car. Then I got at about 4 o'clock to Jerry. We decided to meet up at one of his favorite restaurants, and so we had a nice dinner there. Caught up on a lot of things, made some plans, and then after talking with Jerry, I drove to a hotel near the Richmond airport and checked into that hotel so that I could be ready for an early flight, very early flight out the next morning. But by the time I got to the hotel, I was quite tired, did a little bit of quiet work, but then went to bed fairly soon after that. Monday, March 17th through Thursday, March 20th of 2025. That's what I did. I cannot tell you how much joy and energy the Lord gives me in doing this work for the unborn. advancing the pro-life cause. I think you know that, and that's why you support us. God bless you for doing that. May your days be fruitful and joyful. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you soon.
Hello, this is Father David Begany, one of the many priests who are members of Priests for Life. Prayer is the foundation of the pro-life movement. I invite you to join Priests for Life in prayer each day for an end to abortion. We have many different prayer campaigns throughout the year, and you can find them all at prayercampaign.org. Please sign up with us to be a regular prayer partner. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Hello, I'm Sam Brownback, and I've worked alongside Father Frank Pavone for many years on the cause of life. He's a true champion, and the Priests for Life have been wonderful champions of this great cause, of the cause of human dignity of every human at every phase of life, from the very first moment of conception until its natural death. The human species, the human person, each and every one are full of dignity, priceless in value, and Priests for Life stand for that. Join their work with them, work alongside them in this battle, this incredible battle, this fantastically important battle for life in the United States. We've got to win this fight. Join them.